Hello and welcome back to the Good News.
I'm Doc.
And I'm TJ, and we are excited and delighted that you have tuned in for another episode of the Good News. We are about to see a whole new Doc Daryl DJ Jones during football season. You think he talks fast now? He's going to be rushing us through so he can get the kickoff. Do we have any games in England this year?
I don't think neither one of our teams do, but
Okay.
I think they always have a game over there now.
Okay.
I think they have a game in Mexico now too.
Well, if you hadn't figured out yet, Daryl and I are both big NFL football fans, so we love football season, and so we had the kickoff to the season this past Thursday, and we have been celebrating since.
And it's a different
Such a good
feeling.
product.
It's a different feeling in the air when football season here.
It really is.
Was that plastic popping, click clacking?
And so you have a game at 1:00, so we're going to move expeditiously.
Well, we got a good time, and plus, hey, we at home today. We got that Bayou Nation coming in from New Orleans playing against us. We're gonna send a jambalaya gumbo eating tails back down New Orleans by the time we finish with them today.
Welcome to the A from the Boot.
Yep.
Happy to have you. All right. Well, we do have a topic today because it's one of the things I think just as people, I was going to say as ministers, we get a lot of questions about relationships, relationship problems. Am I ready to get married? Why are all of my relationships ending up the same? And we both have a quote that we got from Willie Moe Jr. that is a radio personality syndicated on Christian radio stations. And he said, if you having the problem at work and you having the problem here, the problem is you. You are the issue.
They're the issue.
And so, but it's always so encouraging when we hear people that are willing to do the work on themselves to be relationship ready. And so that's our question today. Are we ever relationship ready?
You might not be ready for the relationship you want. And a lot of times people are ready for the relationship where they are, but they don't want that one.
Yeah.
you want the type of person who got all this kind of money and got this kind of lifestyle, but you don't have it.
Right.
And the person that's for you right now, you don't want that person because you're afraid that person might not grow with you. That person might not grow at all. That person might outgrow you. So I guess a lot of times we're searching for somebody that we can grow almost at the same pace with or something, maybe. Because people will change, and then people get mad when people change.
Yes.
So Are you ready for that?
So what you're telling me is that Disney set us up. I got to do more than put on a pretty dress and be at the right ball. I can't just sleep and my Prince Charming is gonna come and kiss me and wake me up. None of that's gonna happen.
Think about how many other women who had on the same pretty dress and fixed themselves up too, and you can only have one.
Yeah.
So and that's interesting. Think about that too. Made me think about the podcast I had last week with Tiffany. I said, so she's a beauty pageant contestant. And I said, what makes beauty queens stand out when all of them are beautiful? I said, how do they know which one is the most beautiful out of all of them?
Who's
all
the
of them
fairest of them all?
And her thing was usually people who judge that can tell sincerity because so many authenticity. That was such a great Christian moment. So many of us are so plastic in the church, and people could tell. You might think you're fooling people, but people who know.
And I think a lot of us have been forced into those roles, forced into believing that we have to look a certain way. We can't ever change. We can't ever grow, evolve. I just think about some of the pastors recently who have come out and said that, well, the teaching that I had wasn't as biblically sound as I thought it was. Yeah. So this is my new thought on it. But that's blasphemous. You can't grow, you can't evolve in some circles. Yeah. And it becomes that same way in relationships. And we kind of paint ourselves into a corner. I love that analogy because we are laying on prettiness as we're dating and courting, and then we get painted into a corner because what we were painting isn't who we are. It's who we thought we needed to be to get who we were trying to get. And then when we're in the corner, there's no way out without it getting a little messy.
And I like what you said. I don't even have anything to add to it. And I just wish people would hear that, and people would understand that's a reality for so many people.
And I mean, do you want to, I hear people say that, well, it's too early in a relationship. I shouldn't show all of who I am, but you are, I promise you, wasting time.
Yeah.
Because either they're going to accept you initially, or you're going to pretend to be something that you're not and still get rejected later. And then you just wasted time when you could have been investing in a relationship wholeheartedly and truthfully.
I saw a post, and I tell you, social media has some gems out there every now and then, but it was a post about dating, and the post said, when you're in your 40s, you ain't gonna have the same waiting game in a relationship that you would in your 20s.
Exactly.
And there's so many people where I have a 30-day rule or a 90-day rule. I'm 40 years old, and I ain't waiting 90 days on you. I ain't waiting. That's the mindset of a lot of people. People think, if you're still a virgin at 40, we applaud that, be it male or female. But ain't nobody waiting on those 40-year-old virgins or 50-year-old virgins now. And not saying that they are right or wrong, but when you get to certain milestones of life, you have a certain mindset that goes with that milestone. And even think about you and I don't think the Daryl and Tisa, or the Doc and TJ, back when we first met, would be able to survive right now if we stayed the same.
Yeah. That's so key, that we have to, the saying goes that men go into a relationship expecting a woman to never change, and women go into a relationship expecting to be able to change the man, and neither one of those are true. And so as we are going into relationships, we need to go in with our eyes open. Those rose-colored glasses, we need to go in with our eyes open, with being honest with ourselves about what we're looking for and what we can tolerate.
And I think a lot of times we give change too much power. And oftentimes it's negative power, negative energy. So a lot of times what happens is there's a lot of things in us that we don't even know that's in us yet until the right person brings it out of us. And and I hear you, and you're true in your statement when you say a good woman can make a man. We had an example of that this weekend when we saw somebody. We were like, he got a good lady, because look at him now, how he looks now. His whole demeanor is different now. You could tell that he has a good lady based off of who he was and who he is now. He always had it in him. He just needed the right person to show it to him and show him how good it would look on him if he were to display it. And look at him, I'm so proud of him. So, you see things like that. And oftentimes what we have a problem with, I mentioned this part earlier in the message, how a person could see somebody and a person could tell you, this is what I require to be in a relationship with someone. And then we just got to take me for who I am, because I'm not going to be that person for you. Well, you've already proven we're not the right person for each other. So to try to force that situation to happen is a recipe for disaster. I want somebody, I don't want nobody who smoke. I don't want nobody who drink. I don't want nobody who lie. Well, I ain't gonna stop smoking and drinking for you. I can work on the line. Well, you ain't the one for me. And you could try, but if you know that you ain't gonna do it, why are you wasting my time trying to make me think that you change, develop, and you haven't? Because the truth, you go show up again.
And I'm so glad you brought that point up, that we do have people that are inflexible in who they are. So when I say know who you are, when you know who you are, you know where you need the work. I mean, you have to know that. You can't do it for anyone else. You have to do it to be better for yourself. And so it's key that when we are courting, dating, whatever we're doing, that we are our authentic selves as much as we can be, and know that we are all able and willing to change for the right person. I can, like you say, I know smoking is bad for me already. So if smoking is a deal breaker, then that's something that I might be willing to work on. I'm not going to go down to Brazil and get an extra booty because you want it, but I might be willing to stop smoking. And so it's first of all, knowing yourself.
And life is full of twists and turns and changes, and a lot of things. I think too many people forsake better for comfort. Say for comfort
right now,
because a lot of us, we're comfortable where we are and how we do things. And when somebody tries to stretch us, we resist it, especially initially. And oftentimes when we resist it, we don't realize that if we didn't resist it, we could have been a little further along if we would have gave into it a lot sooner.
Exactly. And that's one of the things we tell people: don't stay single too long.
Yeah.
Because you get set in your ways. And if there's no one around, if you are living alone, you're single, then your rules are the right way. And so as soon as somebody comes in and say, oh no, we put the milk on the door and not on the top shelf, then it's an argument. Because you have become so comfortable in what you do, your rules being your rules. When something get broke, you know who broke it. You become comfortable with that. But if that's all you want, then be honest with yourself to say that you would rather be comfortable, know what's going on in your house, not have to answer to anybody, than to be in a relationship. Because we can't have it both ways.
Why, as important as our school systems are and the education process, wouldn't it be nice if we start teaching conflict resolution at the kindergarten stage? A lot of things that we learn in school, I'm sure it's helpful to us, but there are certain life skills that could just benefit society so much more. Conflict resolution is the thing that happens in the relationship. And when you gave the illustration of the carton on the door, it just made me think, what would keep the peace? Me putting the carton where I want it, I mean leaving it where she had it. If I know that's what you want and you're okay with that, why do I keep moving it? So I think about things like that in relationships.
Well, first of all, don't be bringing no milk cartons. We like the milk in the plastic.
Yeah. Well, I like to know who's gone missing though. And they put those on the carton.
They don't even do that anymore.
Oh, they don't?
No.
They don't even put it on the wall, on the board and wall, do they?
I think they do still do it there. But yeah, so knowing when it's collaboration versus compromise. And compromise, everybody is giving up something. But if we can blend it together to make it look like what we both want it to look like, the milk's still in the refrigerator.
What's the word we use in corporate society?
We're not going to say it today, because that's my least favorite word ever, synergy. Yeah. And that is not what we're looking for. We are looking for a collaborative relationship where we are both working to get each of us the best that we possibly can.
I love to tell people, when you start getting into higher learning, you feel like you can make up words because people ain't going to do the job to research it.
That's not just you.
Maybe it's just me. But when you said synergy, you know what it made me think about?
What?
Your energy made me sin.
Oh.
Because if your energy is not the same as mine, it becomes synergy. Because, you talk about compromise and collaboration and synergy.
Yes.
Synergy means the energy will cause me to sin if we don't bring it together.
Since you were not an English major, you were a divinity and religion major. We're going to go right on into your message today.
I had to know a lot of English to do it, though.
And you came from Matthew, the 25th chapter, those first 13 verses, where it talks about the foolish and the wise virgins. They were virgins.
Young women.
Young women virgins. So so the idea is that they were trying to get to the party where the bridegroom was going to be. And Jesus is using this parable to teach about the kingdom of heaven. They didn't know when the bridegroom was coming to the party. They didn't know what to expect. They just knew to be ready. And some of them, the wise ones, were ready, and the foolish were not. And so the question you asked for us today is, will you be ready?
Yeah. And that it's a loaded question.
It is.
Because the get ready requires preparation. So you need to know what you need, how much of it you need, and when to use what you need, and all those things. It goes into play. And I'm sure initially, when you think about the story according to Matthew, when they first started getting ready, it was daytime.
Yes.
But because the bridegroom delayed, so much time went by, and it came dark, how they said midnight.
Yeah.
So just because it's daylight right now, you have to know darkness is coming.
Yes.
And you're gonna need some light when darkness comes. You know, why would you now our community, we live in a beautiful tree. We live in a beautiful tree canopy community.
Yeah.
So because of the tree canopy,
Go back in there, Granny. Almost.
Because of the tree canopy, we have electrical problems a lot. Our lights would get knocked out. So we had to make decisions to be ready for the event when lights go out. We know we have a conglomerate good news network that we have to keep up and running all the time. So we can't be having all these little power issues like that.
Right.
So we had to make preparation to put things in place for when the power go out, it won't affect us as much as it would have in the past. And that's what happened a lot of time in life. People think that they have time or it won't happen. When it happens, I know how to deal with it. And why wait on something to happen when you can prepare for something to happen?
Exactly. And this really is a parable about readiness and what it even looks like. Like you just said, when they started out, it was daytime. So when we are making our preparations, and it's a lot like the wedding vows that say for better or for worse, we know what better looks like. We know how to be ready and how to respond right now when everything is good, everything is new. We're opening up gifts from the bridal shower. We're moving into our new place together. We got a new mattress, and you got your new closet. I got my new closet. But when the skylight starts leaking, when you work more than I thought you were going to work, and so those 8-hour days are now 12-hour days, and so we just don't know what worse looks like, and so it's hard for us to be prepared. And so just like these 10 young women who were waiting on the bridegroom, some of them were prepared for the long haul, for what could happen, when it could get rough. And in relationships, especially male-female relationships, marriages, dating, that being ready is prayer. That we are praying for the outcome that we want. We are coming into agreement with God that we are together as a couple are in his will, that we are moving the same way and not moving apart. I mean, I still pray those prayers each and every day over my marriage, that we are growing together. I mean, we have all these different ministries that we are doing that are not together. And so that's why I just love the good news, where we come together and I can just hear the things that he's working on, the way he responds to questions here on the good news. And I'm sure he can hear the things that I'm working on with Choose Joy, just by the words that we're sharing now. But we have to be intentional about being prepared and preparing for the best, expecting not to receive the best.
If I was able to teach somebody something from this, we need to learn how to prepare to wait. We need to be prepared for waiting. And a lot of us are so impatient, we don't bring together all the things that we need for the long wait. Yesterday, we had opportunity to have a funeral. And one thing I've learned about funerals, don't ever go to a funeral hungry. And I've learned, yesterday was an early funeral for us. But even with that, I learned, let me give me a couple of crackers or something. So
really,
I won't be irritable at a funeral. So we need to start learning how to prepare ourselves for waiting, sometimes uncomfortably long periods of time.
All right.
So when you're traveling, when you go into the airport, be prepared to wait a long time. Wear some comfortable shoes, wear some comfortable clothing. Have all the things you need ready. They're going to want your driver's license. They're going to want this. They're going to probably have you take off your shoes. Have some comfortable shoes you can slide out of instead of lacing up boots and all this stuff. You might have to be scanned. Have on some clothes that you don't mind when you raise your arm. You want to be showing, I don't want to see your back. I don't want to see your... So, we have to prepare people that waiting is okay if you're prepared for the wait. If you are going somewhere and you go wait a long time, carry a jacket because you might be waiting late in the evening and get cool then.
Yeah.
You know, we have to do a better job. So I say all that, but one of the things I did in the message was I talked about how quick time is.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says Jesus is definitely coming back. I believe it. You believe it. Those of us who believe it. And it said he's coming in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye.
Yes.
And I said, blink your eye real quick. And I told everybody to blink your eye. Y'all blink your eye. Y'all saw how quick that was? That's how quick Jesus can come back and meet us and see us. And we need to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I love the analogy you gave of preparing for a test. So we all have our methods of how we are preparing to be tested on information that we have learned. And so we do that. We get into class. We're ready. We have all the information. We've gone through the syllabus. We looked at the test prep sheet, make sure we know it all. And then the teacher says, okay, we're going to postpone the test for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, you were ready then.
Yeah.
Like the foolish virgins. You had enough oil for that day. But do you have enough oil for the next 2 weeks? Are you still going to be able to retain that information, which is really what learning is? It's not just knowing it for the test, it's for retaining it, that you can pull it up in any situation. And so often we are like that in our life, in our relationships, at work. We are prepared for, we got enough. We recharged over the weekend. We got enough to make it a hump day.
Yeah.
And then by hump day, we back into the same attitude, the same situations that we had the week before, until we can get another weekend and come back and make it 3 days again.
We have to have checks and balances in our life daily. You know, going back to that test preparation. So I'm ready for the test today. I know without a shadow of a doubt, I will make an A+ on this test. But because you gave me 2 weeks, if I don't look at this test information for the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna forget most of what I learned. But the thing to it is, there are processes we can do to keep from forgetting those things. So you do these little checks and balances. So if the test has been delayed for 2 weeks, every day the next 2 weeks, I still need to be preparing as though the test is today. So when the test comes 2 weeks later, I have additional 14 days of going through the process of taking the test. So when I take the test in 2 weeks, I'm still making an A.
Yeah.
So won't we do that with our life?
Exactly.
Pray every day, study your Bible every day, communicate what it means to show Christian love to one another, show forgiveness for one another, be compassionate toward one another. If you do those things daily, Jesus won't catch you slipping when he comes.
That's it.
You know,
that's it.
We have to be consistent. It's consistency at doing right that makes the person. You know, there are people who give you flashes of greatness, but the other times it's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd rather have somebody who's consistently good as opposed to somebody who give me flashes of greatness every now and then.
I like that. I like it. You know, it's like, is it Dr. King that says that your character is where you stand in places in times of trouble, not in times of comfort. And so we are so used to being on and off, especially in our technology laden age. When we say that when the video tells us go live, we do our smile and pull it together. But when we are off camera, when we're not on, we should have the same presence of the Holy Spirit in us and exhibiting the joy of Jesus. You preached at the funeral on yesterday, the eulogy, that you would rather see a sermon than to hear a sermon. And so the way that we live and the way that we operate with each other each and every day is that living a message that people want to know how, why. You got the same boss I got. Why aren't you stressed out? And what are you doing differently? And it's those questions to get people seeking that you can lead them directly to Jesus.
You know, I like when people ask, are y'all like that all the time? Yeah. You know, and the reason we're like this all the time, because we do it all the time. Yeah. You know, it would be hard for us to come on here and look and be genuine and authentic if we weren't like this all the time. You know, people say, like I said, people can tell. Yeah. You know, people could tell. Really? People could tell when it's organic, if it's manufactured. You know, I go to a grocery store, I could tell the difference between the organic fruit section and the fruit section that's not organic. First of all, the organic fruit section going to be in a very lit area. It's going to cost more because it was produced differently than something that was not organic. So you know, you have to say you can food some of the people some of the time, but you can't food all the people all the time.
Amen. And being ready is about just that. Being honestly ready, being prepared.
The best way to be ready, stay ready. That's it. We ready. We ready. We ready. Okay, I'm getting ready for football.
I see.
Are you ready for the football? I'm ready for the football.
Yes, we are. And with that being said, we're going to end it right here. And we do want to thank you for tuning in. Once we get this video set, we'll also put a link in the description to today's message so you can watch it in its entirety. We pray that you will tune in. Pastor has new interviews up on the Passion for Purpose podcast, Be Better on Purpose, and Choose Joy will be back with you Monday through Friday, helping you pray through the week. So we really do appreciate all of your support and all of the avenues that we have to get you the good news.
This show. Well, until we're together again.
Good day and good night. Let's see you next week. What? Oh yeah, that was your part. You're doing something new.